From the studios of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation here at Nile Avenue in the heart of Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda. Good Morning Uganda is where we purpose to start your day with giving you news and topical discussions. We give you insights into what's hot in the country. Sometimes that is issues to do with social justice, but also issues to deal with informing you and entertaining you and, of course, inspiring you. My name is Olive Monica Najima here with Chantal Olive Akandinda, Jerome Paul Sonko and Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. Good Morning Uganda comes to you every morning from Monday to Friday, that is 6:30 to 9 a.m. So every day make a plot with us so that you start your day knowing which insights to look out for. Are you looking for forex trade and you want to know the forex rates? We give you that traffic updates and of course sports updates as well. And of course we have topical discussions in the hour of 7 where we have important discussions regarding some of the stories that have made it to the headlines. And in the hour of 8 we have agenda where we speak to policy makers and opinion leaders. Like I said, I have a team with me and I would like to check on them this morning. Good morning, Chantal.
Morning, Olive.
How are you? And how is your morning?
I am very well, thank you. How are you? It's a bit chilly,
yes,
but I'm warm.
Yes.
Thank God.
Thank God indeed.
Yes.
I think I didn't get that.
And of course, I'm just here to welcome all of you back from the weekend. I hope you had a lovely one. It's a new week. Let's attack the new week with a lot of strength and positivity. Welcome to the show.
Well, positivity is all that we need. And of course, one of us is always very positive. Don't be surprised if he says very early in the morning on Monday that it is a beautiful week. Good morning, Sonko.
Yeah, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm
How was
great.
your weekend?
It was lovely. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. I think the weekend was also a good one for me.
Nice.
But the only problem though is that it really did rain Sunday night. And you can imagine if you're preparing for the morning on Monday, and then
Did you feel like calling in sick?
Not really. Not really.
No,
but
we don't do that here. When it rains or what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the weekend was okay. However, short-lived it was. But here we are. And, you know, since September, I decided I have to attack the week right from Monday morning. Chantal told me you really need to stop. I should stop worrying about Mondays. I was always scared about the Mondays. Now I have the energy right from Monday to project a very wonderful week ahead. So good morning, Ugandans, and many thanks for joining us this particular Monday.
I love the way you look at Monday. And for many people, by the way, many people fear Mondays and worry about Mondays. It's all gloom and doom. But actually, if you start looking at Monday as just another day and enjoying your weekend and Sunday, you're going to have a beautiful week. I can assure you of that. But that being said, good morning, Mr. Chirabo Robert Nyonyintono.
A lovely morning to you and our viewers, and thank you so much for waking up with us this Monday morning. Well, leave alone the Monday blues, really, and just be sure that you have another week. 5 working days to achieve what you didn't achieve the previous week.
Exactly.
And you
5 working days for you to conquer the world. And so you should be excited, by the way, when a Monday comes, because you know that if I didn't make it, I have another opportunity of other 5 working days to strive and achieve. So I always love Mondays because, and if there is any unfinished business, and usually when I'm talking about, well, let's try next week.
Okay.
Let's try next week, you know, because if this week seems to have gone, things aren't working, then let's re-energize and Monday comes.
Very early for Monday.
And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, on a beautiful Monday, ready to start your day with you. And of course, when we do that, we are always prepared to give you the best of the best. But for some families, it wasn't such a beautiful weekend. The family of the former president, vice president of Uganda, that is Mr. Sekandi, lost their son, and it was really sad. He was laid to rest over the weekend. And from us at Good Morning Uganda, we send our condolences, and we hope that the family is strengthened by the Lord. But also in Kasese, the ADF rebels attacked a few innocent people and set a truck on fire. That was also really sad. But the president said, we are not going to joke with those ones. We are going to handle them whether by fire or by blood. And I am in full support because they have wreaked enough havoc. But moving forward, let's delve into the local news stories.
And we'll begin with the Ndejia University that held its 25th graduation ceremony. Now, the Chancellor of the University, Right Reverend Hannington Mutebi, urged the students or the graduates then to ensure that they become agents of change. This happened at their main campus in Luwero at the university.
And moving on, inspectors of schools nationwide have converged at Ginger for a training on the school performance assessment model aimed to improve on the education service delivery and e-inspection of schools. The training is conducted by the Directorate of Educational Standards, the quality assurance arm of the Ministry of Education and Sports. Inspectors have thanked government and the Ministry of Education for the innovations which they say have helped a lot in waking up the education system.
And moving on, the Uganda and Democratic Republic of Congo governments have agreed to waive a visa entry fee on a reciprocal basis. The move is aimed at easing movement of people and goods as the two countries strengthen bilateral relations. This position was reached at during the 8th ordinary session of the Joint Permanent Commission between Uganda and DRC.
And lastly, on the local scene, Uganda Luka Chiefdom has celebrated Tabingwa Day with a promise of ensuring unity and progress. The day also marked the swearing in of a new cabinet and the inauguration of youth and elderly councils. The Chiefdom of Luka Tabingwa Nabwana Inyesinsiko promised a dedicated leadership aimed at fostering a sense of togetherness within the community.
And away from that, what is happening internationally? A man has been charged with murder and hate crimes after allegedly stabbing 2 people because they were Muslim. Joseph Kuba, 71, is accused of killing a 6-year-old boy and injuring a woman, 32, in Plainfield, Illinois. The victims were targeted because of the current conflict between Hamas and Israel, the Will County Sheriff said. Mr. Zuba was charged with first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, hate crimes, and aggravated battery. In a statement, the Will County Sheriff said that on Saturday morning, it received an emergency call from the woman who said she was being attacked by her landlord. The woman said she ran into the bathroom and continued to fight off her attacker, and that is according to the statement. When officers arrived at the scene, they discovered the woman and the boy with multiple stab wounds to their chest, torso, and upper extremities. And away from that, Iran has warned Israel of regional escalation of the Israeli military enters if the Israeli military enters Gaza for a ground invasion as the war with Hamas enters its second week. If the measures aimed at immediately stopping the Israeli attacks that are killing children in the Gaza Strip end in a deadlock, it is highly probable that many other fronts will be opened. This option is not ruled out, and this is becoming increasingly more probable, Iranian Foreign Minister said yesterday. If the Zionist entity, in brackets Israel, decides to enter Gaza, the resistance leaders will turn into a graveyard if the occupation soldiers, he added. Since the Palestinian armed group Hamas launched an unprecedented attack inside the Israeli territory on October 7th, Israeli airstrikes have killed more than 2,670 people, a quarter of them children, and wounded nearly 10,000 others in Gaza, where a catastrophic humanitarian crisis is unfolding. And moving on, a man accused of practicing law without qualifications has said he is innocent and thanked people who have come out in support of him. On Thursday, legal officials in Kenya urged police to arrest a man practicing under the name Brian Mwenda. They say the man was a masquerader who had stolen the identity of a real lawyer named Brian Mwenda Ntwiga. Local media reported that a fake lawyer had won dozens of lawsuits despite not being trained. The case has captivated the East African country over the past few days, eliciting reactions from outrage to amusement. Despite condemnation by the Law Society of Kenya, the country's Director of Public Prosecutions, the alleged imposter has garnered several supporters. He has been praised by Kenya's Central Organization of Trade Unions as a brilliant young mind who has succeeded without traditional qualifications. Now, speaking matters climate, the second International Conference on Climate Change and the Role of Nuclear Power 2023, now Atoms for Net Zero, concluded in Vienna today with an appeal for a level playing field on energy policies and access to financing so that nuclear power can fulfill its potential in achieving climate change and energy security goals. The conference's president, Ambassador Hamad Al-Kabi of the United Arab Emirates, brought the event to an end following a week of high-level talks involving nearly 550 participants from 81 countries and 26 invited organizations. Participants agreed that nuclear energy plays a pivotal role in addressing climate change, but must overcome several challenges to achieve the large-scale deployment that several authoritative global studies say is needed to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. That is it for climate news and what is happening on the international scene.
Thank you so much, Chantal, for the international news stories and an update on climate news. Right now, Jerome Paulsonko takes us through the news press review.
Well, the New Vision, I do have a copy of it, and this particular morning, Monday, government sets new performance rules for head teachers is the headline from the New Vision today. Furthermore, assessment plan starts this term. Poor performers face dismissal, according to what the government's new guideline is. Then UPDF warplanes bomb more ADF targets in DR Congo. You can read more about the same in the New Vision today, as the First Lady queries contraceptives campaign among teenagers. You can read more of the same in here. Now, the Nalia wetland under attack. National Housing speaks out of this particular one. As in the Middle East, Israel army readies for Gaza invasion as civilians flee. So you can definitely have more of the same. That is according to what the New Vision is highlighting this particular one. Now, Modoma crowned new Omukoha. You can read more Omukoka. You can read more of the same in the New Vision today. And well, of course, later on in the show, I will be definitely giving you more of the other headlines, that is in the New Vision, Daily Monitor, and of course, crossing over the borders.
Well, there is a story Chantal shared in the news from Kenya about that young man that has been practicing law when he is actually not qualified. This young man has won 26 cases that he has, represented, all 26. I think this is not someone to arrest. This is someone.
How did he pull that off though? Like,
How?
Did you ever watch a series called Suits?
Yes. Oh, Mike.
Yes. So he probably was doing. He's called Mike.
Yes.
Mike something.
He was called Mike. Yes.
Yeah. Probably doing that one, but still, how do you
Mike
practice?
Mwenda.
No.
Yeah, this one was called Mwenda.
No. It is a series
But-
called Suits where this young lawyer pretended that he had gone to Harvard and he hadn't, and used to win every case that was taken to court. Well, in my opinion, I don't know about my mates here.
Mike
In my
Ross.
opinion, this is not someone you incarcerate. This is someone you actually rehabilitate in a way, or finance to go to law school so that he now does this legally, because that right there is a bright mind. that shouldn't be lost, you know, in prison. But anyway, we will take a short break, and when we come back, we will be speaking matters school fires. What is the cause of these fires? What has police found? And of course, this is against the backdrop of a fire that happened in Kamuli. We'll be right back.
This is Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Now there's
From the studios of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation here at Nile Avenue in the heart of Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda. Good Morning Uganda is where we purpose to start your day with giving you news and topical discussions. We give you insights into what's hot in the country. Sometimes that is issues to do with social justice, but also issues to deal with informing you and entertaining you and, of course, inspiring you. My name is Olive Monica Najima, here with Chantal Olive Akandinda, Joram Paul Sonko and Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. Good Morning Uganda comes to you every morning from Monday to Friday, that is 6:30 to 9 a.m. So every day make a plot with us so that you start your day knowing which insights to look out for. Are you looking for forex trade and you want to know the forex rates? We give you that traffic updates and of course sports updates as well.
The Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, in partnership with Huawei, has organized the second annual National ICT Job Fair 2023, which will take place at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds on the 17th and 18th of October 2023. The main objective is to address the unemployment gap among the youth in Uganda by providing a platform for them to interact with multiple employers, access job opportunities, internships, apprenticeships, and training programs in the ICT sector. The chief guest will be His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. All members of the public are invited.
In Bushenyi district, we run a number of programs ranging from service delivery to wealth creation. We have the presidential initiative on wealth creation, a MUGA program, where we have 34 circles that have been given funds for the last 2 years, of which each circle received 33 million and only 2 managed to receive 50 million each. These funds have enabled the different categories of our population to engage into business-related activities, and we can see their incomes getting better. Some of them are into tailoring, others into mechanics, into carpentry, hairdressing, or mention it. And so far, they are running their enterprises smoothly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome back to Good Morning Uganda. My name is Olive Monica Nejma, here with Chantal, Olive Kandinda and Joram Paul Sonko. Now, it is matters that are known for really exciting because it pertains to our children, the safety of our children when in schools, and of course, the property of these schools. Now, as you know, there was a fire Friday night at Kamuli Girls Primary School where 100 students survived death by fire. That is at least a highlight. So there was a fire and all the property for all these 100 pupils was burnt to smithereens. And of course, the school property was also ruined. At first, police said that the cause of the fire was a short circuit, but later investigations showed that no, it wasn't a short circuit because the fire started from somewhere else. So we want to look at these rampant school fires. We know that in Uganda, we have lost children to school fires. We have lost adult students to school fires. Of course, one of the most profound fires was the fire in 2008 where over 20 pupils at Budo Junior Primary School were burnt to death as they were sleeping in their beds one April night. And of course, last year, children from the School of the Blind, where 11 of them were burnt to death, still school fire. So we come here today to really look at this because yes, investigations have been done, reports have been made, government has come up with some measures, but have they worked? Those are the questions we are asking, and how do we move forward? So I'll start with Sonko. And I would like for us to have a look into the causes of the fire. Now, starting with the most recent one at Kamuli Girls Primary School.
Well, when you look at the causes of this one, cases that were reported, one is there was an element of accident, or what you could call accidental. But brother, there is also an element of negligence in how some of these particular, how the schools, how schools handle these safety measures, or how they set up safety measures to control such scenarios in schools. When you look at, the distances, for example, from the kitchen area to some of the power sources that actually, provide electricity to the schools, this is what you could actually call an accidental situation, but then the negligence comes in. And I do not want to put the issue of negligence to the administration of Kamuli, simply because you get to realize that no school will come out of the blue to set fires to attack students or pupils who actually pay their school fees in the long run. But now to as well go to generalizing the causes of these fires, they are majorly around 4 causes. One of which is accidental, in scenarios where you get to realize that either way, during the course of the night, somewhere, somehow, something did, lead to the fire outbreak. And then secondly, maybe negligence, because the Ministry of Education and Sports did set up minimum requirements and standards for schools to follow, or guidelines onto which the schools need to follow in order to prevent such circumstances. So now in cases whereby schools become negligent in a way, such things tend to happen. But then there's also...
When you speak about negligence by schools, what exactly do you mean? Because negligence, what some people see as normal, could be what you're actually referring to as negligence. Or maybe some schools could be out there, someone could be out there, and maybe a parent, and this is something they've been seeing, but they don't realize that it is negligent and risky.
Now, on my third cause, which would be the distance from the kitchen to the dormitories or classrooms, this is where the negligence may as well be identified. I don't know if some of the parents have actually noticed or been able to observe that there are certain schools whereby the kitchen area is actually close to the dormitory or close to a classroom. It may not be close because they are on the same block or anything, but in the city center, others actually on the same block. You may actually find that there is only, it's just, let's say, 5 feet away or 10 steps away to the next block. So when you have a kitchen set at that site, there is literally no way you can prevent fire from burning the next classroom once it starts from the kitchen, or burning the dormitory once it starts from the kitchen, because the kitchen is where the fire sources are in schools. This is where everything is prepared from, so that means it's the only area where a matchbox is allowed in school premises, unless in the science laboratories. So this is where some of the negligence comes in, and also the mere fact that certain schools do not have, this is actually a preventive measure. If schools are supposed to be having fire extinguishers that are supposed to always be checked regularly to see that they are refilled and all that, but then you may find that some schools also have these fire extinguishers that are already expired, or their date of being refilled already passed on, and they did not as well go out or did not call in the authorities or the people who are responsible for the same. Then there's the number 4, cause, which is according to the police report that was carried out last year, which shows that most of the schools are actually burnt deliberately. So it's more like either someone from the neighborhood burns down the school simply because they have issues with the school administration, or either way, land disputes or land wrangles, school owners as well as the people who actually settled in the same area. Then there's also an element of some employees who worked with the school before,
disgruntled employees, former employees or current,
former, and then they left in even the students at times.
Or like that fire where a senior 1 student was tied to his bed by a student that had been expelled and actually suspended, and he was burnt to death, and the dormitory was burnt too.
Exactly. So when you look at some of these cases, and when you look at the land disputes or wrangles, in most cases, this is where we see schools that are banned, but it's only property destroyed. So it's like someone already knows
how the school operates,
how the school operates,
when to cause minimal damage as far as life is concerned.
Gets back to the former employers. So they are not targeting the students or children. They are normally targeting to damage the school reputation or to damage the school, because this particular report showed that 17 schools out of the 40 that were banned between the period of January to June last year,
out of the 40 schools were banned between January to June.
So out of those 17 were identified as deliberate cases. So it's like someone was very intentional with burning down this school. So when you look at some of these causes, you realize this is where we are, and it's now going to be a very huge collective effort for all of us to put an end to this. And
still, you, Sonko, in the cases where, because you said 17 out of the 40 that were banned last year between January and June, it was deliberate. Now, how about in the cases where children's lives were lost? Was it accidental? Were they just collateral damage, or someone set out, for instance, Salama School of the Blind?
Yes.
Did someone set out to kill these children in that fire?
Well, according to police, they actually excluded this one because it was a special case, the School of the Blind. It actually shows that this is, according to the investigations that were done by police as well, show that there were culprits that were arrested to give more clarity. Because in cases whereby the deliberate school fires, some of the students who were actually investigated would clearly, tell you that the fire started from somewhere, or maybe it's like someone set the school on fire and ran off. Now, with these particular cases here, it does show that it was a different case. It was either accidental or also deliberate in the same way, but someone did not intend to kill the students.
But when you set a school of the blind on fire, you know that these are minors.
They don't,
some of the kids that were killed were as young as 6, okay? You know that they are blind, and you set their school on fire, you definitely know that you're going to kill someone.
Because how are they going to run?
Exactly.
Their lives,
exactly. Because they can't see, and they are minors, and they are blind. But we've also heard about cases of greed.
Yes, cases of greed in schools as well. I wanted also to identify that there is one of the key issues is also that most of the schools are privately owned, and of which the greed now comes in. That it is either you and I started a school together, and maybe in the long run, you own the largest share or the percentage. You input a lot of money now, and at the start of, for example, if we co-founded the school and we started it as 2 people in the business, then in the long run you tend to actually take over simply because you have more shares.
Okay.
And now what happens? I will feel treated unfairly, and then what I will do, I'll go ahead to see that what happens is I put down. I put an end to that pride of yours that you have. So in most cases, someone will actually put a school on fire simply to so that to get even with the other person that he feels was treating him or her unfairly. And then there is also another report that indicates that there was also some criminal conduct of students. There are some criminal conducts of students whereby some students during riot cases and all that tend to also set schools on fire, simply because they are getting back at the school administration.
The case I mentioned where
so
senior one student, because this student had been suspended because of bullying a certain senior one student who went and snitched to the authorities that he was being yes. Now this boy came back around prep time and brought petrol and got this boy, tied him on his bed, and then poured the petrol onto him and set the dormitory on fire. Unfortunately, they were not able to save his life, so the boy died. And the boy sneaked into school with the help of some of his friends that were in the school, inside the school. And these were young people, all below the ages of 17. But that being said, would like for you to join this conversation. And the question we are asking today is, what measures do you believe are most essential to address the increasing incidence of rapid school fires in Uganda's schools? What measures do you believe are most essential to address the increasing incidence of rapid school fires in Uganda? You can reach us on WhatsApp number 0709602592. You can also reach us through the X app, and the hashtag is UBCGMU. Now, before I go to Chantal, these causes, there are quite many, but we would like to, before we go to what the government has done so far and what it needs to do eventually, I still want to go back to Sonko briefly. And there is something you mentioned where you said that these school fires are largely in private schools. So, and last week when we were speaking about education, we mentioned that, for instance, in secondary school, over 75% of secondary schools are government, rather privately owned, and 100% of kindergartens are owned by the private sector. What am I driving at? When you see, for instance, P7 results coming out, and by the way, there is also another common factor. Most of the school fires are primary school for primary schools. Of course, there have been also secondary school fires. Last week, there was a fire at Masaka Secondary School and many other secondary schools, but I've also